There have been moments in history of motorsports that no one would believe if they hadn't been recorded on camera. Cameras have caught some shocking moments that are sure to send a chill down your spine. And even though video can be faked in today's world, what you're about to see are genuine crazy moments.
That's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen a funny car do, and if there were a lesser...
In today's video, you'll see strange moments such as the Cruz Pedregon Wheelie, Dale Earnhardt Jr. tearing his steering wheel but still driving, and a shocking 16-car pileup in Macau, and many more. If your interest has been piqued, stick around to the end and experience them all. So let's start with our first weird moment, which is when Sebastian Vettel wins the Belgian Grand Prix after saving Charles Leclerc from Fernando Alonso's flying McLaren. Hamilton, the defending champion in Belgium, began on pole position following a wet qualifying race, but his Mercedes was unable to match the German's performance in the dry, and he had to settle for second. Red Bull's Max Verstappen finished third, giving his army of Dutch supporters something to cheer about. But his teammate Daniel Ricciardo clashed with Kimi Räikkönen at the start and withdrew after pitting. The opening corner, though, produced the most drama, with Fernando Alonso's McLaren flying over Charles Leclerc's Sauber after being hit by Renault's Nico Hülkenberg at the La Source hairpin.
Look at this mess that's made of the side of that McLaren.
Moment number 5 on the list is the Cruz Pedregon Wheelie. Cruz Pedregon, a member of the National Hot Rod Association, is a very lucky man. We think this is the strangest wheel stand we've ever seen. Cruz Pedregon's funny car began to wheel stand at the finish line of the NHRA Toyota Nationals in Las Vegas, Nevada, knocking the back of the body off its mounts and converting the car into a hang glider for a few hundred feet.
A couple more times. Through the lights and it tripped him with the rear tires! Wow!
Cruz not only kept his foot on the gas, but he also won the race by crossing the finish line first, demonstrating a true blue racer's instinct that we believe the NHRA audience greatly appreciated. For number 4, we have Dale Earnhardt Jr. driving without a steering wheel. When your steering wheel pops off in your hands while you're driving, you know you're having a rough day. After being involved in 2 of the day's numerous incidents, Dale Jr. was officially ranked 40th. On lap 50, he lost control of his vehicle and collided with teammate Casey Kane before being collected in a collision by Carl Edwards. Dale Jr. managed to take his steering wheel off the steering column in the second accident, and it was only fast thinking and a tight hold that kept him from crashing into the barrier. Fortunately, it was done with caution, Dale Jr. said about the incident. I just seized the steering wheel and moved the car in that direction. I could have torn the flesh off my hand if it had hit the wall, but I wasn't going to allow it. That was a one-of-a-kind situation. Our third recorded moment is when a touring car race was suspended after a shocking 16-car pileup in Macau. A large pileup obstructing a tight curve at a 3.8-mile circuit in Macau forced the suspension of the FIA GT World Cup qualification race. In the first lap, Spanish racer Daniel Juncadella collided with the wall at what was called the police turn. Despite the fact that Rafael Marcello was able to escape Juncadella, 15 other automobiles behind them collided. Only 4 cars out of 20 escaped the pileup, so the race was promptly halted and cranes were dispatched to remove the wreckage. According to the South China Morning Post, Brazilian driver Marcello of the Mercedes AMG team stated that he got fortunate. He said, "I'm grateful to be alive. It's unique music, but it's also terrifying." He told Motorsports.com that he could not see Juncadella during the 16-car pileup. He attempted to brake, but couldn't. There's only space for 1 car, and you're blind on the police curve. There were no injuries reported, but only 8 of the 20 vehicles were prepared for the restart. Moving on to number 2 was the massive 1998 Belgian Grand Prix pileup. The first lap collision at the Spa-Francorchamps in the 1998 Belgian Grand Prix provides a clear glimpse into the size and severity of crashes in what is now known as one of the most memorable F1 pileups. The incident only lasted 15 seconds, but by the time it was finished, 13 of the 22 machines that had started had been totaled.
Somebody's braking, Eddie Irvine gets caught up in the Benetton, and they just keep smashing into each other,
causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. Never before had so many automobiles been wrecked in such a short period of time, but what caused such an unrestrained carnage? Well, the weather was the main cause, as it is so frequently in Spa. The race began in a typical Ardennes rain, which resulted in the back being clumped together and engulfed in spray as they approached the circuit's painfully tight opening turn, La Source. Surprisingly, the whole grid navigated the right-hander without incident, but when McLaren's Mika Häkkinen led the pack down the hill towards Eau Rouge, his teammate David Coulthard, who was 4th, lost control after hitting a drain cover. The Scott's silver MP413 speared sideways out of the shadows and slammed hard into the inside retaining wall, splitting the vehicle back across the course and into the path of the onrushing pack. The carnage that ensued was unparalleled in scope. As cars lost control and ricocheted into one another, detachable tires and shards of carbon fiber bodywork filled the air, after one devastating hit after another. Then, just as the pandemonium seemed to be calming down, the blind tail enders appeared, launching aimlessly into the carnage. The accidents gradually lessened, and the race was red flagged after what must have seemed like a lifetime for those caught up in the chaos. Moving on to our final weird moment in motorsports history. Teemoscheider's hood flips up during the race, but he just keeps going. Teemoscheider's spectacular exhibition of that slogan in practice at the first America's Rallycross event blasted out a term that dirt-happy drivers love to use, push on whatever. During the race, Scheider's hood flipped up and obscured much of his windshield. But did it stop him? Nah. The inaugural race of the America's Rallycross, which includes several ex-Global Rallycross teams, was held at Silverstone, United Kingdom, rather than in the United States. Teemoscheider, a two-time DTM champion, delivered the most spectacular drive of the weekend. Scheider told ARX's commenters after the round that he realized the hood was loose on the first lap and was praying it wouldn't burst out all the way. So much for wishful thinking. So Scheider concentrated his hope power, what little there was of it, on wishing that the hood would drop back down since it was obstructing his view of turns and braking spots. There was no such luck. Scheider continued on with his hood totally flipped up over his windshield for the remainder of the 4-lap qualifying race. Best of all, despite all of this, Scheider came in second. He was even in the lead with his hood up until he had to take a joker lap, which is a slightly longer circuit that rallycross drivers must take at least once every race. Take a look at this nonsense.
At the minute he's got a reasonable gap change, we think it's about 5 seconds.
Unfortunately, because the series has a broadcast deal with CBS Sports to show highlights from the races, the live stream of the ARX race was pulled shortly after the race, so there's only a brief clip of Scheider's insane run online right now, in ARX's weekend promo reel. But that brief clip and the photos really say it all. What are your thoughts on all these weird moments in motorsports history? Have you ever been to any events like these? Or do you know of any weird moments from other live events you've been to? If so, please share your moments in the comments section below. We hope you liked the video, and if you did, share it with your friends and family. We'll see you next time. Take care, and goodbye.